Thank you. So here we are to talk about Bike to Wherever days. Every Bike to Wherever day or wherever days always reminds me what a fun day it is. There is just so much energy and excitement in the air. You see cheery smiles, laughter, bells, high fives. Everyone is so pumped up and continues to pass on that energy to every other bicyclist on the road. I still remember my very first bike to work day where I was absolutely brand new, just 3 months into this work. And I was like, whoa, what is happening? And then a year passes by, you forget everything that you saw on that day. And again, all those energizing stations, the bike rides, the refreshments, goodies, everyone that's passing things around is so, so, so exciting. If any of you have experienced any bike to work days before, I'd like you to share your favorite memory in the chat. I'll be going through some routine slides after this, and then I hope to read out some of those memories from the chat. Next slide. So just going over some quick meeting guidelines. Please use chat to ask questions. We have a full agenda, but we'll make sure that we are monitoring the chat at all times. We have kept Q&A for the end, but if there are any pressing questions in the middle, we'll make sure to take a break and get that question answered. You can connect further for more detailed questions via Slack or email. We'll make sure to share those out during and after this meeting. Be respectful of one another and our differences. Do not interrupt. Stay on topic. Focus on topics relevant to people present and take other conversations offline. Next slide. So this is the biggest bike event in the region, and it is the best supported opportunity for local teams to recruit new people to the movement. And I'm also really proud to share that SVBC is the body that makes the regional Bike to Work Day happen for all the 9 Bay Area county. SVBC coordinates with all the Bay Area-wide bike coalitions and with Metropolitan Transportation Commission to plan and coordinate the regional efforts, along with everything that the coalition does in San Mateo and Santa Clara counties. Again, this is the biggest biking event of the region. You'll see several folks biking around. Many of them are probably experiencing biking for the first time. And this is the moment we want to capture where we can convert them to being bicyclists forever. And hence, we want to highlight the theme for this year, which is recruit, recruit, and recruit. All of the teams in your work plans have growing team membership or building teams as one of the priorities. And we encourage you all to utilize Bike to Work Day as much as possible to accomplish this goal. SVBCs, cities, several partners, local groups are already putting in so much time and effort to making this a fun-filled day. And a small, teeny tiny role from your end can make this partnership to be so beneficial. And I'm sure teams who have hosted Bike to Work Day events in the past can testify to this statement. You all must be thinking that May is still months apart, and why are we talking about this right now? Well, we want to make sure that you all get ample time to think and plan your activities, and also want to make sure SVBC staff can manage their bandwidth and time to support you as much as possible in planning your events. So we'll begin our session today with sharing everything that happens during Bike Month and Bike to Work Day. And hopefully you'll carry that into your breakouts to plan what your teams can do. Next slide. So here's a quick agenda. We're in the process of doing an introduction of the topic. Next, we'll go into details of Bike to Wherever Days, the 411. Then getting your bike ready and getting yourself ready for Bike to Wherever Days. Getting your butt on bike, which talks about all the rides and events that will be happening before and during Bike Month. Then a quick share out for all the past local team events that have happened, and then Q&A. And on that note, before we jump into the next part, just reading a few memories from the chat. Thanks, Ken and Frank, for sharing. So Ken says, my favorite Bike to Work Day memory is using the clicker to count the number of riders crossing Santa Clara San Mateo boundary at El Palo Alto. Did that job multiple times. Ken would love if you could add how much change you've noticed in your several years of playing that role. And Frank mentions that the last couple of years, he's led several entire families drop by at this. He has seen several entire families drop by the station, either on a cargo bike or with kids on their little bikes. Yes, I remember the California Avenue station where you're at, Frank, and it is absolutely buzzing with families and kids. Uh, well, thank you all for sharing. And on that note, I'm going to pass it on to Kyle.
Thank you, Sandhya. My name is Kyle Klimas. I am the newest employee of SVBC. I started this year at the very beginning. So I'm really looking forward to celebrating and working alongside all of you for this year's Bike to Work Day. I've been in the cycling industry for well over a decade. I've done programmatic work before, such as Bike to Work Day, and had involvement in other various programs for bikes. So yeah, I'm really excited to be doing it this year. Because I am new, if I am kind of leaving any important details out or it prompts any other questions, please don't hesitate to throw that in the chat. Also towards the end, there'll be our contact information. By all means, please feel free to reach out to me directly. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump in if we can get to the next slide, please. Cool. So this is a big year for us, as well as just cyclists in general. It is the 30th year for Bike to Wherever Days. That's a pretty big deal. So with that, we want to really kind of put an emphasis on really getting people to ride and to celebrate with us and to just get anyone to pledge and participate in any way that they can. So this year, it's going to be taking place Thursday through Saturday again, which will be May 16 to 18. And there's going to be a lot of opportunities for riding, volunteering, and engagement. So with that being said, we can jump to the next slide and I'll show you guys a few. So just a quick overview of our timeline. We will be conducting steering committee meetings all the way up through April. As you can see, we've already passed our sponsorship deadlines. That does not mean, though, that we are not still taking sponsorships. So by all means, if you or you know anyone who is interested in sponsorship, by all means, please send them our way. Energizer Station signup. So I myself am leading this. Energizer Station signup is live. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later, but you may have seen the e-bulletin go out, in which case we are already getting Energizer Station signup. So a little earlier this year, but that's awesome. We want to have some more buffer. And then Bike Month event sign up. So throughout all of this up until April, our calendars will be open for cycling related events for signups, as well as other, various Bike to Wherever Day themed events. And then the BCOY, the Bike Champion of the Year. So that you'll see in our comms channels go out, our e-bulletin, that we're going to open the gates for nominations. That'll start in March. So keeping that in mind, anyone that you encounter or friends, families, riders, etc., just start thinking about that now. And then May obviously is the biggest month. That's the actual bike month, in which case bag stuffing will be happening. Bag stuffing is already open as well. I'm going to talk a little bit about that later in the next slides, but just keeping that in mind, we already have those on Eventbrite. And the Bay Area Bike Challenge as well. We're going to go over that. And then, of course, Bike to Work Days. So if we can jump to the next slide, please. Cool. So Pledge to Ride. Pledge to Ride is by far like the biggest priority. That's really just getting people to pledge to ride. We're doing it via Eventbrite again. So just having people go to that link and just signing up just to pledge that they ride. That's really our biggest push. We really want to get as many pledgers as we possibly can. It really, really, really helps promote our growth. It's incentivizing for, riders. There's a little bit of a, challenge where we can see by different counties or cities, little local participation challenges, the most pledgers. So it's fun that way. but it really does help increase our, our reach and our engagement and our overall growth. So a huge push on that one. At the very least, that's really what we want the most involvement with. If you can just get anyone and everyone to pledge, by all means, that really helps us out. So even if that's the only capacity you have this year is to just constantly be promoting pledging, that is a really big push. The links are going to be all available in the slide deck. So when we can give this out later, you'll be able to view the actual sign up for pledging. If we can go to the next slide, please. So yeah, the Energizer Station sign up. Again, like I said, it is now live. It will take you to a Google form, and in which case the information for Energizer Station details and process and how to get all of your supplies will be a downloadable guide inside of the form. So if any of you have not already checked out the form yet, by all means, feel free, sign up, and then you'll notice that there is a link that takes you to the information guide. And in the information guide, it's going to have all of the updated information this year about the bags, where you can pick them up, training. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar already with the Energizer training and breakdown. Really hasn't changed that much this year, but for anyone who just, needs a refreshing course or just really wants to share that information, we really do ask that people sign up for the Energizer Station training. But there will be a map. There will be a regional map. That's a big change this year. It will just be an entire map of the entire region where it will show all the Energizer stations. So really excited for that. We're working with the other counties on that one right now. And that way it will just kind of just be like a one-stop shop for everyone to see where all of the Energizer stations are. For Energizer Station supplies, we also have a new method for extra shirts this year. If you want to purchase extra shirts, there's some information in there about that as well. So by all means, check out the sign up form. And again, any questions you can ask me directly. You can go to the next slide, please. Cool. So volunteering, this is another really big, helpful volunteering opportunity for us, is the bag stuffing. We've been getting some signups already, but we could still definitely use more help. I'm sure some of you are already familiar with this. It's just a big party where we're just stuffing bags for all the Energizer stations with all supplies. They're going to be at Sports Mason again, both the Redwood City as well as the Sunnyvale location. The dates are there for the actual party itself on May 4th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then the pickup party, so the distribution, is going to be on May 6th. It's really important that we are, pushing for involvement with this, but also that anyone who reaches out in various ways asking about Energizer Station or the bags or their supplies, that they know that it's going to be at the sports basement. We can always make accommodations to have bags picked up and sent out, but we really, really want people to just either participate with the bag stuffing, but most importantly, come to pick up their supplies on the actual distribution day. And again, Sandhya just mentioned if there's any questions at any time while I'm going through this. I know I'm moving a little quick. I want to cover it all, but please feel free to ask and we can stop and cover it. So next slide, please. So the bike month ride or event. So we really want to make sure that we are getting as many events on our calendar as we can. So there is a link there that you can actually submit any cycling related events to us, so we can get it on our calendar and get visibility on that. Just really quickly, I realized I quickly breezed over the last slide. Accessing the links for the bag stuffing, they're on that slide. So Sandhya just mentioned again that, yeah, all the links are actually embedded in these slides. So when we do share this, you'll be able to check that out. And same with the event calendar as well, and submitting those events. We just really ask that please make sure that they align with cycling related events and in promotion towards Bike to Wherever days and Bike Month. We really want to make sure that it's a common theme, that the events all are promoting that. Next slide, please. Cool. So that's just a sample view of what the events would look like, how they would appear, a calendar whether it be educational, whether it be, any volunteer opportunities, whether it be rides, whether it be anything just promoting, cycling and overall well-being. We will really excited to take those, event submissions. And next slide, please. And then Bike Champion of the Year. So as many of you are probably familiar with already, each county is going to get champions. I know it's a little misleading. It says champions, but there's many champions. So nominations will open March 1st. So please start thinking about who you want to nominate. The nominations will close on the 29th, and then the decision will happen on the 12th, and then the 29th, the winners will be announced. So great way to get people feeling recognized, to get people excited, to really stimulate the community with seeing who is out there really making a difference by riding. Next slide, please. So being a bike ambassador, I'm sure many of you already are, but we are also looking for more. So helping a local Energizer station is really a big need and a big ask, not in responsibility, but we really do want to have ambassadors at the Energizer stations promoting SVBC. What that looks like, just briefly looking at those bulletin or the bullet points, getting e-bulletin sign up so people can see what we're doing, can engage with them. We can get people reading and seeing all the cool things that SVBC is doing. Really importantly, getting participants to pledge to ride. That's going to be a big push while you're at Energizer stations, and just being an overall ambassador. Again, getting people to pledge. Bringing in new members. Obviously, we always want to keep growing, get more riders and volunteers. Spreading the overall word about SVBC and how we are making a difference in the community. Offering shirts. We will be offering shirts for purchase, at the Energizer station. And then just answering any overall questions about SVBC. There will be ambassador training, as some of you may have already taken. We will have Energizer specific, like Bike to Work Day ambassador training. Those have not been posted yet on Eventbrite, so stay tuned for that. I will be posting those somewhat soon. If you already have an interest or you're already comfortable with doing that and want to be involved, please feel free to email me. But we are going to have specific Bike to Work Day training for ambassadorship. Next slide, please. And then the Bay Area Bike Challenge. So we're bringing back the Bike Challenge. Some of you may remember when it was, I think, Love to Ride, or a different platform, but we are bringing it back. It's with Ride with GPS. We are still ironing out a lot of the features and details, but it will be the Ride with GPS app. We're setting a goal for 30,000 miles collectively for the 30th anniversary of Bike to Work Day. And that means like overall, regionally, we're trying to hit 30,000, collective miles. And again, still ironing out a lot of the details on this. We're going to be meeting with Ride with GPS to make sure we get all the features ironed out. So any questions on this, please do not hesitate to reach out. Myself, as well as my colleague Colin, will be dealing with this. So just feel free to, ask us, but you can check out the challenge. There's a link there. The challenge is already live, the overall challenge. So if you're curious and want to check it out, you can do so now. And yeah, next slide. And I think that concludes my slides. So I'm going to pass this off to John Han so he can talk about education opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kyle. Hello, everyone. My name is John Han Wong. I'm an Education Programs Manager. And one of the major programs I oversee and run is the VTA program, taking it over from Tim. So we have a lot of classes planned to help get folks ready to ride on Bike Month this year. We have some new ones, including a Learn to Ride class. So I think many of you have taken some of our classes. This is a new one, and especially if folks who want to learn to ride but haven't learned yet, and this would be a great way to get them started, and we will have bikes, a fleet of bikes ready for and available to rent, so that they don't have to go and seek their own bikes. And then, of course, we have our popular basic bike repair workshops coming up for that to get people's bikes back in working good shape. And we have a bike commuting workshop, a new bicycle security workshop, and we're also tuning the new biking basics to have part 1, part 2 to be a smaller mini version of our typical smart cycling curriculum. And this is based off of a different program that some instructors, including myself, have done and with families. So this would be a great way to get people just a taste to get started on riding transportation, riding in neighborhoods with their families, or by themselves if they're not ready to go for the full smart cycling yet. And then after Bike to Wherever days, there will be more advanced classes, like including the smart cycling and additional learn to ride and other class opportunities that will be posted soon. So you can check it out at the class listings and register at those links and scan the QR code. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I don't have my email there, but you can definitely email ed at bikesiliconvalley.org. That concludes my part, and I'll like to pass it on to Eleni for information on rides and other events. Next slide, please.
Right on. Thank you, John Han. And I've been taking a look at the sheets and workshops that John Han is planning, and they're all looking great. Really valuable information. So I don't know about you guys. I've been sitting for a minute. I'm gonna like take a sec to stand up, and I invite you, if you would also like to stretch your legs, stand up, and let's get some energy going. So as Kyle mentioned, the main ask of everybody now at this time is to be encouraging our communities to pledge to ride. But where will they ride if it's not on me and all of you to be hosting awesome and fun rides for them to sign up for? So my ask of you guys, next slide, please, is to really dig deep and see if you are willing this month to work with your local team or work with your community groups or work with a friend to host a group ride and give our community these opportunities to experience what it's like to go out on the road and ride with a group and navigate by bike and see the world a little differently than they might be used to seeing it. So in the past, we've had really awesome series of group rides, and then we're hoping to get them going again. So what we have coming up in May so far, we'll have the climate ride, which if you don't know about that, SVBC recently put out a blog post if you're interested in getting involved in that. May 11th, we'll have the 4th annual El Camino Real ride. I'm really excited for that activist ride to show people what it's like if we would be able to bike safely on El Camino Real and the variety of businesses we would be able to access, parks we would be able to access. So I'm working with 4 local teams on that one currently. The Redwood City Mural Ride is going to happen again. We're getting that one going. Date TBD. In San Jose, we're hosting the City Loop Ride on May 5th. North San Mateo County looks like they'll be hosting an affordable housing ride. And other rides to keep your eyes out for is like the Pokemon Go ride. We might be able to revive that one. Giro de Libro happens in San Jose, which is a tour of a tour of libraries and conducted by bike. And then additionally, Bike the Limits, which San Jose Bike Party always hosts in the month of May. Next slide, please. So my ask of you is if this is of interest to you, this opportunity to give your community members the experience of going on a group bike ride, the link is now in the chat. If you're interested in getting trained as a group ride leader, please go ahead and sign up, use this doodle poll to show your availability so that we can make sure that we're scheduling the next ride leader training around your availability. I know there are plenty of people here, I was checking the names, who have taken the training and then been able to host rides or serve as support on these group rides that we've been hosting. Charlene and Mary Fran and many of you guys have all been so helpful in hosting these rides. What we'll go over in the training is some basics, sort of theoreticals of like what type of gear you should bring if you want to host a ride in May or anytime, how to make sure that your participants' helmets are fitting correctly, and just the basics of like how to make a good, safe route and what to bring into consideration there. And then once we are done with that theoretical portion, that's when we go out on the road and experience what it's like. We take turns leading the group for a couple blocks just to see how it feels to have a group of riders behind you. So I can't encourage you strongly enough. Please come out and take this training. It's going to be really awesome. We have like 10 days available in March for you to select from to show your availability in that doodle poll. If you have any questions, you can just send me an email or talk to your local team organizer and they'll be able to get us in touch as well. And then I think the next slide shows some of the local team rides that have been hosted in the past, if you hit next slide. And so just to keep you excited and give you some ideas of what your options are. That's all from me. I will see you in the breakout rooms. Thank you.
Thanks, Eleni. And yes, all of these snippets are from local team rides just this past year. And some of these rides include the San Jose and Redwood City mural rides, the Sunnyvale ride for Boba, Santa Clara ride to shopping, housing rides in Palo Alto and South San Francisco, neighborhood rides in San Jose, bike to school day, Pokemon Go ride, health district ride. So we're not confined or constricted to any of this. We can go wild with different ideas or just bring up your own suggestions of what you want this ride to look like. And again, this is not confined to Bike to Wherever Days either. You can make this happen anytime during the entire month of May. Next slide. This wraps up everything we wanted to share about Bike to Wherever Days and Bike Month. You have all your information about whom to contact for Energizer stations, bags or t-shirts, whom to contact for sponsorships, and whom to contact for communications. Don't have to copy any of this information. We'll share the presentation with you after this meeting. But I want to open the table now for questions. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. In Sunnyvale, we usually table at 2 places, and sometimes we do it on Sunday. We do one on Saturday, and then we do one on Sunday. But because Bike to Wherever Day is only to Saturday, it doesn't include Sunday. Is there a possibility for us to table on Sunday as well as Saturday?
Kyle or Colin, do you want to answer that?
Also, I'm so sorry. Would you like me to stop recording?
No, go ahead. Let that be Katie. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question one more time? And Colin, I may ask for your guidance on this answer.
Well, the Bike to Wherever Day is Thursday through Saturday, but does that mean we have to have Energizer stations only on those 3 days, or can we do it on a different day as well?
No, so actually, as soon as you get your supplies, you can start promoting your Energizer station. There is actually specific blurb about this in the Energizer station guide. So as soon as you fill out the form, the sign-up form for said Energizer station, and there'll be the link for the actual information guide in there. So as soon as you get all of the preliminaries situated, yeah, you can start running your Energizer station. We just obviously ask that the biggest days historically have been Thursdays and Saturdays, but by all means, if anyone wants to start representing their Energizer station sooner, please feel free.
No, I mean later, Sunday, which is after
Sunday as well. Okay. Yeah, that would be totally fine as well. There's really
But what is the drawback for doing it outside of those 3 days?
Just ration.
Yeah, I think your station may not be showing up on the map.
I see. Okay, so maybe we won't do it on Sunday then.
Yeah, I just want to add that like we've done Bike to Wherever days on 4 days the last couple years. And as Kyle mentioned, the highest energy days have been Thursdays and Saturdays. And the turnout has not been very great, especially on Sunday or weekday evenings. And that's why we want to shorten this timeline, and instead of spreading out Energizer stations over 4 days, have them more spread out on the same span of 3 days. So that is why this was a decision made with all the regional partners to make it Thursday through Saturday instead of Thursday through Sunday.
Yeah, I know the original, it originated with Bike to Work Day, which happens on Thursdays. But now that it's Bike to Wherever Day, we see a lot of families participating, and they participate primarily on the weekends. So if there is no downside for SVBC to do it 4 days and advertise Sunday as well, even if there aren't that many Energizer stations on Sundays, I think families would take advantage of that. We've had good turnout at the Sunnyvale Library on Sundays.
Yeah, so just again, by all means, you are absolutely able to. We may not be able to get that put on the map for that. When you sign up, there are the days that you can
Right,
choose.
not this year, but maybe next year you can consider it for families who don't bike to work, but bike, to other places.
Sure, I really appreciate the feedback.
Thanks.
Any other questions, anyone? Okay, moving on. Next slide. So just wanted to announce that we're not going to have a regular forum in March, but we will be having our local team meetings during that time. So there'll be no forum 5 to 6 p.m., but we'll have regular local team breakouts from 6 to 7 p.m. So make sure to coordinate with your respective SVBC staff member to finalize about your local team meeting in March. The reason why we're not having a March forum is because we're working with CalBike on putting together a forum on complete streets on Caltrans corridors. And we were initially going to put this forth as a forum in March, where we wanted to invite CalBike representatives and also Jeannie Ward-Waller, who's worked at Caltrans before. And then when we started this conversation with CalBike, we decided to do CalBike decided to do that as a forum for themselves. And so we want to invite all of you for this forum, which will be happening on March 6th at 9 a.m. It is during regular work hours, but hope you can pull out that 1 hour from a weekday and join us for this Complete Streets on Caltrans Corridors forum on March 6th. The role that SVBC staff will be playing at that forum is to talk about the El Camino Real campaign and how important Complete Streets elements are on statewide corridors as well. There are also other events happening between now and the April forum, which includes an America Walks Federal Funding Forum, which is on February 27th. And then Thrive and Silicon Valley communities of nonprofits have an advocacy series happening, and they have two really good sessions. One is Campaigning 101, which is happening on February 29th. This is a virtual session, and we highly recommend everyone going to this session. It's going to be a hands-on workshop to talk about campaigning and next steps. And then there is one on March 5th, which is going to be in person. And this is a highly recommended session for everyone in San Mateo County. It is going to talk about local legislative advocacy in San Mateo County. There are going to be some legislative reps, maybe a few supervisors and some council members, and a discussion and a workshop with them to figure out what does successful local legislative advocacy look like. So highly recommend all of you to attend these workshops. And we'll be meeting next for a forum directly on April 17th at our regular cadence. And the April 17th is going to be, it's not a regular cadence. This is going to be our very first lunchtime forum for this year, and it's going to be from noon to 1. So if you all remember, we took an annual survey last year, and we'll be doing that again sometime April. And we found one of the questions was what time of the forum is best suitable, and we found two big numbers that rose. One was the regular Wednesday 5 to 6 p.m. and the other was a lunchtime forum, and those were two totally separate audiences. And so to be able to cater to both, we decided to host at least two lunchtime forums during the year. And so this is going to be our first lunchtime forum of 2024. For this forum, join community partners from the Parking Reform Network, Greenbelt Alliance, and SV at Home to learn about how parking requirements when building housing impact biking and public transit, and how builders remedy a policy which is making headlines throughout the state for facilitating housing development without local approval impacts public transit. We'll send out information for this and a sign-up link again after this meeting. Next slide. Before we open breakout rooms, any questions? Okay, so Katie, you can stop recording now, and